Story 1. Original post. I, male 35, have been friend-zoned by my wife, female 34. Married for 6 years, together for 8. Overall, we've had a happy marriage, have had common goals for what we want to do in life, and we even started working together a year or so into our relationship. But something happened at the start of this year. I got a promotion which required me to work long and wonky hours, which left us less time together. Maybe one day a week that we could go out and do things. I felt like we were making a concerted effort to spend time together, and I called her on my breaks and when I was on the way home. Stuff like that. Fast forward to 2 months ago. I noticed she's been very invested in her online friend group that she games with, and had been spending long hours with them even on days that we were supposed to spend time together. Sex had mostly dried up save for a lone, isolated incident where she became overwhelmed by horniness while at work and felt like she wanted to tackle the nearest guy. She rushed home and we had great sex. But something lurked in the back of my mind about this incident. We haven't had any sort of sexual intimacy since this event, which was maybe 3 months ago. Anyway, 2 months ago we end up having a fight where I, in essence, say that she doesn't really want to be in this relationship. And that's when she drops the bombshell that she had fallen out of love with me over the last month or so. The timetable for falling out of love is nebulous at this time, but it's most certainly this year. I was devastated because I knew something funky was happening, but we'd been so close and so in sync for years that I didn't even consider that she had lost her feelings for me. She said she still cares for me dearly but sees me as sort of like a neighbor or a roommate or something. I spiraled into depression and decided to devote every waking hour to saving our relationship. We took a week off work and went on many dates, and I tried everything I knew to do to reconnect. At our zenith, she said she loved me like a family member, but that she just wasn't in love or romantic love. So a couple days ago, I'm like, okay, maybe you should get your own place for a while. I'm still very much in love and attracted and care so much for her, but the sting of rejection every time I look in her eyes is extremely painful. She had said at various points over the last couple months that she had a longing for something new. Somewhere new. An adventure. That's the key reason for me to ask her to leave. I'm not going to trap her in a marriage where she knows she can't fulfill her end of things, and she knows I'm unhappy. My question is this. My family and friends have been disagreeing with our plans moving forward and said we should exhaust all efforts before moving into a break or separation territory. I feel like I'm smothering her with my needs and desires while she lives here. Do I have my head up my behind? Or is this just kind of how marriages go after a time? My parents had long years of lovelessness and eventually divorced. Maybe things just eventually morph into a friendship over time, and I'm the strange one for still wanting intimacy. Teal Doctor, my wife, no longer has romantic feelings for me and wants to seek something new. I asked her to leave. Am I being dumb? Now for the comments. I wasn't married, but I was in a 12-year-long relationship that I decided to end once she told me she wasn't attracted to me anymore. She still loved me, and I loved her, because we were together for so long, and we really were best friends. But that was it. We were just friends by the end. And I was still attracted to her, but I couldn't force her to be with me. It is true what they say. If you truly love someone, let them go. It will hurt you, but not as much or as long as sticking with a relationship where you're not wanted anymore. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved the way you need to. You'll find someone, I assure you. Thank you so much for your kindness. I agree that staying in a relationship where I'm not being reciprocated will lead to all sorts of bad things. I absolutely don't want to search extramaritally for solutions to my needs. I hope you have found what you need as well. Bro, you're missing the point here. She's checked out. Game over. Pack it up and move on. You're clinging to a sinking ship, my dude. Sure, try to save it if you want, but it sounds like she's already got one foot out the door. You're not being dumb for wanting intimacy. That's normal. But you are being dumb if you think you can force her to stay in love with you. Let her go and focus on yourself. You deserve someone who actually wants to be with you. And seriously, stop trying so hard to save something that's already dead. Life's too short for that nonsense. It's just so hard to accept that something is dead when it feels so goddamn sudden. Months is all it takes to entirely lose love? I don't understand. Did she not see that this was happening? Did she not even care to say anything? It's just so hard to understand. The sooner the marriage ends, the sooner you can move on. Make sure you go no contact and block social media, or you will drive yourself crazy. She's moved on. Now you need to. My guess is that your wife has found what she believes is a better option. She didn't so much lose feelings for you, as much as she found them for someone else. Start working on your exit plan. Maybe this is true. I really do hope not. Based on your timeline, she's into one of her gamer friends and is probably crushing on them. Ask her where she wants to go and if she's going to go meet her friends. Or is this just kind of how marriages go after a time? I feel like that really depends on the two people in the marriage. I've been married for 10 years, together totally for 15 years. We weren't friends before dating, just straight to dating. Extremely attracted to each other from day one. Still very attracted to each other now. Over the years, I would say we became friends and then family. He doesn't feel like just my friend, even though he's the person I tell everything to. We talk to each other first thing in the morning, and he's the last person I speak to before I fall asleep. He's the bookends to my days. We have children together, and that's a whole other experience, seeing each other as co-parents in this huge enterprise of parenting good enough kids. Beyond all that, he's still the person I want to touch and want to be touched by. He's the person I want to grind and grope. It's hard to put into words, but he's all these things to me. He's not just a friend. He's not just a husband. He's not just a co-parent. He's not just a piece of bum. He's all of these things, and it's the whole of him that I don't want to be without. I don't think friend and lover are mutually exclusive. Just because that person supports you like a friend and you care about them like you care about a friend doesn't automatically mean that romantic feeling has to die. That said, her romantic feelings for you died somehow. Why or how it died, only she would be able to tell you. And whether it's possible to bring it back, that would be up to the both of you. Personally, I think it's always possible to fall in romantic love with the same person again, as long as both parties are both open and willing. A few additional notes. Her losing interest and love for a partner has happened before with her previous long-term relationship. Several years in, she lost her feelings. They took a break. Then the feelings came back for a bit, then disappeared again. She limped along in this relationship for a year or two with no feelings before she met me and moved cross-country to be with me. Adventure. Which makes me feel like this is happening again, and it would make sense for me to let her go, rather than tie her down into unhappiness. Also, during this whole ordeal over the last couple months, I had been searching for answers. I thought maybe she was cheating on me and asked her several times if there was someone else. She said no. She had been hiding some private conversations with male friends recently, which was the subject of another one, our fights. She had never hidden anything before. We were almost entirely open books with each other. The other concerning thing she did was buy sex toys and take pictures of herself using them. I asked if she had sent them to anyone, and she said no. I believe her, but the behavior in itself is so far outside her normal MO that I sometimes feel like I'm talking to a stranger. She also says that she hasn't had a single stray sexual impulse in this couple months that we've been having issues. Her sex toy thing was right before our first big fight about all this. Every since then, zero. And she says she's not sure she will ever want sex again. I'm just very worried about her. I feel like she's got some real stuff going on and needs time to figure it out. Update. The long and short is she has a new boyfriend after having moved out a couple months ago. He's someone she's been talking to since the beginning of the year. Only recently it's escalated, supposedly. I only learned of this due to a mutual coworker like fifth-hand knowledge. I called my soon-to-be ex-wife to get confirmation. I said to her, "Some news has gotten back to me. Do you have anything you'd like to get off your chest?" After a long pause, she says, "I went on a date." I knew this already, so I said, "And?" And it went well. And there was a fainting incident in the hot tub. And what? And y'all's got freaky, right? Well, we tried some things. Girl, don't lie to me. Yes, we were intimate. Okay, bye. My 2% hope that maybe eventually we'd get back together is officially gone. We haven't even filed any paperwork and she's already done nasty with an online dude. I get it. I see. I'm aware. Now I'm going back through our relationship and really looking at things. She really isn't a good friend or family member or person. She was a good wife until she wasn't. Thank y'all for your feedback and support during this time. It's been a huge, huge eye-opener as far as how much emotional capacity I was giving her on a daily basis. I didn't have anything left for anyone else. Now I'm spending tons of time with friend and family trying to form and keep connections. There's always good with the bad, and that's what I've noticed so far. My brother moved in with me, and he's honestly been a godsend. TLDR, wife left and found new guy. You all were right. I had my head up my bum. Now I'm sad but trying to enjoy friends and family. Thank you for your support. Now for the comments. She's probably going to come back once the new thrill wears off with the current guy. Do not take her back. She really isn't a good friend or family member or person. She was a good wife until she wasn't. Hopefully this line sticks. My girlfriend did this to me and it took me a while to recognize this. I don't want the person who I love to treat me the way she treated me, nor do I really think her values line up to mine anymore. Once I came to that realization, that she was no longer the same person I fell in love with, nor is she someone I would want as a friend if I had randomly met her today, it became much easier to move on. One thing to remember, OP, is that this isn't about you. She's done this before, and it sounds like she gets bored in relationships and has no interest in putting in the work it requires to be a long-term partner. She's chasing that feeling of newness and excitement that comes from fresh attraction, and she'll enjoy it for a while until it loses its luster and she has to start the whole process again. Relationships change over time, and the ones that survive past the initial honeymoon years transition into a stronger, more durable love that's based on mutual respect, commitment, and a shared vision of the future. I understand that what you're feeling is complex and difficult to digest, but the best revenge in these situations is to move on and live well. After you find your person and look back on this in 10 years, you'll realize she did you a favor. Sometimes we have to go through a tough time to appreciate the good ones. Good luck to you. Take care of yourself. Crappy to have to go through this at Xmas. Glad you've got family to watch over you. Don't try to drink your pain away. Exercise, gym time. Oh, and you do know she will snap out of the affair fog soon, right? And she'll come running back, saying it was all a mistake. You are the love of her life. She realizes that now. This will happen, so please be prepared and not shocked or surprised. She's right at that age of wanting to feel the other grass, see if she chose the wrong life. Definitely, monkey branched you. She had everything planned out ahead of time, probably months before the actual separation. She had emotionally checked out because she found someone who gave her what she thought she was missing. Here is something you need to know that is the honest truth. This was never about who you are as a person or what you have or haven't done during your relationship. This is all about your partner making intentional choices to betray you without guilt or respect for your relationship. Her cheating is a reflection of her character and lack of moral compass. What you are feeling is natural, but please know that you deserve better. Once she cheated, she forfeited any right she had to complain and blame you for problems in the relationship. The moral and adult thing to do is to discuss your concerns with your partner and seek to resolve them with respect for each other. If you can work it out through communication and maybe counseling, great. And if not, then the correct thing to do is end the relationship for the benefit of both individuals. Cheating is a dishonest and emotionally abusive way to avoid facing problems within a relationship. After cheating, the failure of the relationship is 100% the fault of the person who cheated. Could you have been a better partner? Yes, we all can, but she stole your ability to improve by having an affair. Story 2. I, 28 male, overheard my wife, 28 female, and her friends dismissing and belittling our daughter, 4 female, and myself. We had a bad fight about it. I'm left questioning our relationship. How do I move past this? I'm in a bad fight with my wife. We've had bad fights, but it's been a while. I'm questioning the nature of our relationship and the example I want to set for our daughter. We met in college and began dating as freshmen. We got engaged in our senior year. We've been married now for almost 6 years. Our relationship isn't perfect, but I thought we were true partners and like missing puzzle pieces. My wife described it as we were a perfect pair for each other and each other's anchors. She's a small business owner. It wasn't without struggle, but it's pretty successful. She's the current breadwinner. I paused my career to support her career and do what was best for our daughter. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I hold down the fort at home, I do gig work, and I assist with the business where needed. In the early days, assisting included going out on deliveries. Our schedule separates us a lot. It's a real issue. We're supposed to be trying to refocus on each other and reconnect as a family. My wife's in a small business association. It's a platform to connect with other entrepreneurs, networking events, and seminars. At the top of the group is an entrepreneur, 40F, who's put on a pedestal. She's a pretty big deal locally and has branched out. My wife's networking with her, and they're working on starting a collaboration. My wife said this collab would also allow her to be more present. The group was having a Zoom meeting. I was meal prepping while our daughter was drawing our family outside in the snow. Before I could stop her, she rushed into my wife's office to show her the picture. We were snowed in, and our daughter was excited. My wife looked a little peeved, but everyone greeted our daughter. I had her say hi, I apologized to everyone for the interruption, and then I took our daughter out of the office. A little later, I overheard the lead woman saying my wife's the face of the brand, and slowing down now would be a mistake. She knows my wife must want more than mundane family life, and in referring to me, that's why we have wives. They're our free hired help. The extra sting was that my wife condoned it. She laughed while our daughter and I were belittled, and even joined in on it. My wife noticed my distance with her and asked what was wrong, but when I opened up about what I heard, she was super defensive. She didn't hear me out. It turned into a big fight. She said I was making a big deal out of words and that she's been ironing out this collaboration for months. How she busts her back for our family, and the least I could do is help her instead of adding stress. Her whole "the least I could do is help" really rubbed me the wrong way. I bust my back for this family too. I gave up my career so she could pursue hers. The bulk of our daughter's caretaking is left solely to me. I handle everything with the house. I handle all the errands. My gig work brings in extra money, and I assist with her business. I'm up around 4 a.m. daily, preparing breakfast spreads, preparing lunches, making my wife her own special lunch, and getting dinner on the table without delay. I'm the one who comforts our daughter when my wife breaks promises. I told her to stop making promises, but she still does. Our daughter asked me, "Does mommy avoid us?" Then my wife's the first one saying our daughter prefers me and isn't connecting with her. I'm not seeking a pat on my back. I'm just saying I give my all for our family. I don't see how my wife could be so dismissive of me. I brought up our failed attempts at reconnecting as a couple and a family. It's not an impossible task. I told her even cleaning the dishes together counts as spending time together. She said she barely has time to use those dishes. I love my wife. For me, she's an irreplaceable partner. I thought we had mutual respect. I'm committed to working on our marriage, but I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do anymore. I shouldn't feel alone in our marriage. I shouldn't feel like a single parent in a 2-parent household. I feel taken for granted and unappreciated by my wife. How do I move forward for my family? TLDR. I overheard my wife and her friends dismissing and belittling our family. I was even referred to as the free hired help. My wife condoned it and joined in. We had a bad fight about it, and I'm questioning our relationship. I'm committed to working on our marriage, but I'm at a loss. How do I move forward for my family? Now for the comments. You have a lot of major issues here that do need to be addressed, and couples counseling would be wise if you want to address them. She shouldn't be dismissing you like that, and her work-life balance is a mess if both you and your daughter are feeling that disconnected. She's in the wrong. It can't continue. However, I'd really recommend you not hyperfixate on her failure to police a professional contact's comments like this. That is a distraction, a side issue that hurts, but is actually keeping you fighting about the wrong things. I don't expect my blue-collar husband to correct every single sexist thing he hears on the job site. That is not practical or good for him professionally. I expect he will nod and smile along sometimes, if not most of the time. It's his call on how to best manage those relationships and the norms of people who his income relies on. I might not love it, but I'm not going to temper tantrums when I overhear someone talking crap to him about women. I'd never have any peace if I did. If I were really pissed about him over other things, it would be way more hurtful to overhear him not challenge that crap. I feel like that is what happened here to you. You're not wrong, but you're not helping yourself to focus on this. There are fights you and your wife really need to have. This is not one of those fights. Have the right fights. Get a couples counselor involved to help you have the right fights, the real disagreements, about the major issues here. There are plenty. Don't let this Zoom call exhaust you because someone else said some crap and she responded poorly. It's not moving you forward. Your labor is labor. She makes money, but she'd be paying a fortune for what you do otherwise. But it's also a matter of respect and consideration. Strike while the iron's cool. Wait to let the anger pass before you initiate a conversation. But once that happens, lay out why what she did was wrong and see how she responds. You have every right to be upset. She doesn't respect you, nor does she respect your kid. This is a gender-flipped version of the career man who ends up at 50, divorced with children who don't talk to him. My advice is to start building up your career again, get your kid in daycare, and demand couples counseling. It is very difficult to have a relationship with a grinding entrepreneur. Their business will pretty well always come first, and the family is an afterthought. I know because this was me during my first marriage. Much like you, my ex had to put her career on hold because I wasn't giving up my business for anything. I was at a point in my life that financial security was more important than having a family, and it ended up ruining my marriage. Things aren't going to get better while she's still in this mindset. She may be your world, but her work is hers, and that's not fair to you or your daughter. You can perhaps try therapy, and this could snap her out of it, but unless she's ready to take a step back and put you and her daughter first, this is doomed. Just in case, start looking at getting back into the workforce, finding alternative childcare, etc. You don't want to be left with no resources should she choose her business over you in the end. You, alone, don't move forward for your family. You and your wife have to move forward, and you've reached the point where you can't do that without outside help. It's painfully clear that resentment has been accumulating in your marriage, with each of you feeling like you're the only one holding the family together. Your wife in particular seems to be losing the plot, if your account is accurate. You shouldn't have to smooth over broken promises to your daughter on a regular basis, and she absolutely shouldn't be dismissive of your contributions and labor just because they're different from hers. This is the kind of breakdown that marriage counseling is for. Both of you need to make time and prioritize this. You can still get back on track, but it's going to take some work. Hurt feelings don't disappear overnight, and your wife has some thinking to do about her priorities. Both of you have some crap to hash out. Make an appointment and go, with or without your wife. Make it clear to her that this is important to you, and you want her to join. But if she won't clear her schedule for it, don't wait. Get in there yourself and start talking. Hopefully, she will be receptive without too much resistance.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.